This is Deborah Johnson for Women at Halftime, and I'm passionate about helping women use their untapped skills, resources, and talents to create their ideal work and lifestyle, making a difference in their second half. Well, I'm so glad to be back with you today here on our Women at Halftime podcast. And we have an amazing guest today. But first of all, I want to make sure that you have the information about our upcoming free webinar on how to develop a side business that will last through any economy. Now, that is a huge promise, so especially coming from where we've come from. But there are some principles that we are going to share that you will not want to miss. And you can get to that with the anewwayofdoingbusiness.com or through my main website, goalsforyourlife.com. So you'll find all the links there to get to that free webinar. And so I hope you do sign up for that. Take advantage. It's totally free, and there are multiple dates on that. So, and I'm so happy to have Peggy Kelley with us today, because Peggy has quite the background of 3 decades of catering and event design production expertise. She is basically an event planner, and what has happened during this shutdown is all of our events, live events, canceled. Oh my goodness. And Peggy, caught my ear on something that she's doing, and that's where really I want to start. She has a great mission of dream, design, create, and celebrate. And she has put together and a part of this collaborative, and we are just starting to open events back up now as we speak, as we record this podcast. And when it airs, things will even be more launched. But I'd really like to tell everybody hello, Kelley. You just delight, and Peggy.
It happens. That's the nice thing about having 2 first names.
Yes.
And I just go, yes.
Yes.
That's me. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you, Deborah, for the opportunity. The event world is doing what it does best. It's in solution, it's in innovation, and it's in collaboration. And more than ever, we have to be in that space. We can't do this alone. My hashtag is better together.
Wow.
And Event Strong. Event Strong came out of the special event that happened this past March that I was at as a speaker. And because as we were there, it was literally right before the shutdown.
Wow.
And we watched and experienced the start of the client calls of canceled. They couldn't even think in postpone yet. They were just cancel this, cancel this, cancel this, cancel. And we were in Vegas, so that was a hot spot.
A hot spot because everything shut down there. Everything.
Absolutely. There was 8,000 of us there. We finished up the 12th of October. I came back, did a bat mitzvah on the 14th, and by the 16th of March, it was done.
Wow.
Everything was done. And from that moment until this, it has been just a coming together of an industry. And in such a way, I have such pride.
Wow.
In what we've done. And because it was very much about it was never about me. There is a group we were talking about, the collective.
Yes, exactly. I want you to get into that.
The Event Collective was something we created a long time ago, before all of this, and had a resurgence just recently. There is a group of wedding planners and event planners here in Pasadena, where I'm based, that came together to support each other, because there's so much information going on out there that there's no way that you can stay on top of it all as a single person.
Right. And that's such a great idea and how often, I want to know some of those specifics, because this is a really good proactive thing to put in place for anybody now restarting as well.
we're on it. We have our little Facebook group,
Yeah.
and you can tell when the conversation starts because the notifications, it sounds like somebody's ringing the bell over and
Wow.
over and over and over and over. It's like somebody found something out and it all goes out. We have weekly Zoom meetings so that we can talk as a collaborative. We stay in contact on a daily basis of who is championing. Like today, there was a webinar from Honeybook, which is a booking software. I was over there. And then the Association of Bridal Consultants was having a very important meeting about protocol in the wedding world. So Tina was over there. And then, there was something else going on, over in another quadrant. And so, everybody gets their aisle to be
Yes.
on.
Yes.
And then we will circle back. Good. And everybody will report. Good. And we have a working Google Doc so that we know each day what information is available. And so that, if it's not a lot, some days are more popular than others. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you just live on Zoom. But, and then on Friday we have our huddle up.
Okay.
But if there is something urgent, it just goes out on the airwaves right then and there.
That's so great because you are continuing to have that amazing network, which is so important right now. We have to have each other. We've been in this isolation, and I think people are really realizing how important that is. And I'm an introvert, and I've really found how important it is for me to be around people. You forget about that, even if you are used to getting all your energy from, working by yourself. And now, how is this specifically helping you? Because you've had to redo all of your events or reschedule all of your events. So how is the collaborative now helping you?
It really gives us a depth and breadth of what we do. But also how there's things you just don't think about, because when you've done it for a really long time, it's just kind of, automatic. It's given us all a deeper respect and sensitivity to each person's discipline. What a photographer is going to go through is different than a caterer is going to go through. That's different than a florist is going to go through. Can your event move to virtual for right now?
Yes.
I do nonprofit as well as social. My nonprofit has moved to virtual.
Okay.
And so there was a learning curve on that, not just for myself, but also for the client.
Oh, okay.
For them for their mindset to make the shift that they can shift over to virtual.
Now, what were some of those changes? Can I ask you? I mean, we know that we can go. I mean, that's kind of huge, isn't it? Because if you have a live event and I've been on so many virtual events now, people are tired of some of the virtual events. I think they're getting a little tired. But what are some of those, and how is it helping, or is the nonprofit still doing okay?
The nonprofits, to me personally, they have an amazing opportunity.
Okay.
There. And the opportunity is the opportunity of reach. A much wider reach of audience and potential audience and potential donor and support. It's also a way to deliver mission and message too, because I always look at a virtual event very much like a scripted reality show, because nonprofits really do script a lot of what happens in their events,
right?
And the donor experience for it. So now they get to be more strategic about that. They get to be really creative. They get to pull out some elements about their organization or their mission that they might not have focused on before. And bring a new storyline in.
Okay.
The donors that they may have lost touch with due to distance,
Mm-hmm.
who have not been able to actually come to their live event, now can participate.
Wow.
So I go back to the reach part, and I think that is the greatest gift for them.
That's so great, because I've been following churches as well.
Sure.
I have two sisters who are married to ministers, and their churches, they have so many more people
Right.
coming online, and I've followed a few others too. It's just absolutely exploded for people now tuning into all of the live streaming and being a part of these. And it's going to be really interesting, I think, and we'll cover this here, how we think the future of events and the combination then of live and virtual. But it's exciting to me, especially for a nonprofit who is looking for a donor base. That would be amazing.
And think about education.
Yes.
God bless the parents that homeschool. You have my heart and my total admiration. On that, I think it's huge what you do.
Yes.
But in the educational, especially think about alumni.
Yes.
In the colleges, and that all of the alumni who have graduated, gone on into careers and moved out of the area, possibly out of the state, now they're all accessible.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you can re-engage this whole community, and the three things that a virtual event, but any event needs to have, is content. Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it? Connection.
Okay.
To build that connection, whether it's a reconnection, like with alumni,
right,
or a new connection, new information that goes back to the content, or that connection of people that you see all the time that miss each other,
right,
and support each other, and out of the connection comes community.
Okay.
And when you focus on those three things, content, connection equals community, then that's the basis, that we build any event on.
Wow.
Now we just have to do it with a very clear voice, virtually.
Okay. That is great, because we have a lot of people putting on their own events right now too, as far as webinars and all of this. And you want to make this more interactive. I get a little burnout of just the PowerPoint things and all of this sort of thing.
Right.
You need to, I'm a big video person anyway. I like to change it up and have, different media things going on, but with attention spans but that sort of connection, being able to connect with each other, that's where Zoom is all of a sudden, it's wonderful where you can see each other.
Right.
But also.
And you can have a lot of fun with that.
Yes.
And this is where the creativity comes in. Because I think about this stuff all the time. It's like, okay, what did you do in a live event, and how do you translate it? Because 80% of a live event can translate to virtual.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay. A little speck there.
Yeah.
And so when a guest, the invitation, you can still create the invitation. You can do it virtually, or you can still do a mailed invitation.
Okay.
You can do that. You can also create a swag bag that you can pre-send.
Okay.
To an event, to someone who's attending your event. Now, this is social, this is nonprofit, this is corporate.
Everything.
The swag bags just change based on, if it's social in a wedding, it's a party favor.
Yes.
If it is a conference, maybe it's swag from all of your sponsors.
Right.
That's whether it's conference or corporate. So you can have tons of fun with that. Who doesn't want a gift in the mail so that they have it?
Yes.
And they're ready to go, and the notebook's in there, and the pen's in there, and the whatever swag you want to put in there.
Right.
And now that becomes a social media moment. Take a selfie with your swag bag.
Yes. I love this. And I've known other speakers who are making sure they have their printed material. They want people to hold it in their hands. I'm big on print as well, come from that old fashioned era.
Absolutely.
Even though I do so much virtual, I think having that pen and paper and having that, I'm big on even paper. And I'm selling more product right now too of the physical products, which is interesting. I did 2
Right.
collabs to Amazon today. So with some music books I have and with CDs. So people want some of that physical, they want to hold it. So
They still want that tangible piece. We're
Yes.
still tactile. So
Yes.
here's the other thing about virtual events is that you have, one of the secrets is to go back to the senses.
Okay.
So visual, you've got that.
Mm-hmm.
Audio, you think you've got it, but do you really? And you really need to check that.
Right. Yes.
Just for clarity.
Yes.
And that. So then go back to the tactile part.
Mm-hmm.
On the taste, you can have, for some, depending on the size of your event,
Mm-hmm.
you can have a food component, whether you send a recipe in advance that they can pre-make,
Mm-hmm.
or you have set up, here in Pasadena, the Junior League partnered with We Olive,
Uh-huh.
and people could order from We Olive that was delivered to them prior. It was about building a cheese board. He would send
Wow.
all the ingredients, deliver it to them, and then
Okay.
20% of that sale goes back to the organization.
What a great idea for a local organization to be able to do.
And
Wonderful idea.
right, and people are looking to partner.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yes.
looking to partner like that.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
looking to give right now too,
right,
because they see some of these businesses that are going to be really, really struggling to get back at it. And I can't imagine all the restaurants. Oh my goodness,
right.
being able to have it and all the waitresses and everything. So, yeah, yeah, those are great, great ideas. Well, tell us a couple differences between the social, which is your wedding, and the personal celebrations, and some of the non-profit, because you go into how those are. You've mentioned a little bit of this on
Right.
finding the former donors and all of that, but how else are a couple of those things different? Because they're going to have the same principles. Is that correct?
They're basically, in many respects, you have to what I always say is start in the beginning. What's your platform?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And here's something that's really, what I find is really important. Meet your guest, attendee, or audience where they are.
Okay.
Don't try and teach them a new platform. Don't try and teach them new tech.
Mm-hmm.
If they're an older audience, more mature, and they have a comfort with Zoom,
Yes.
then do it in Zoom.
Right.
Don't try and get them to Yardstream or Webcast or any of these other things, because you will spin their head.
Yes. Yes.
They want
That's
to
a really, really good point, because
keep it
I'm pretty
simple,
tech
sweetie.
savvy, but I've had a little problem sometimes even in getting on some things. So
Absolutely.
it's if I have problems, I know someone else's, that's just going to be hugely magnified for somebody else.
And
Yeah.
and I'm the same way. I need one more stream of communication, like I need a hole in the head.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we're just hit from all sides, especially when
Right.
we are, solopreneurs, and we're doing a lot of things ourselves. We have assistants, but it's still, we're in charge. Basically, there's a lot.
And
So
I understand that they want clear communication
yes.
on that. But I'm a firm believer, how you do one thing is how you do everything. We're here to serve.
Yes. I
And
really like that.
part of service is listening. And
Right.
it's listening to where they are,
Mhm.
and then meeting them there.
Yes.
And that's really true social. For me, it's even more so social,
Mm-hmm.
because one of the, when March came in, when this all happened in March and April, we were facing Passover and Easter.
Yes, that's right.
And these are huge holidays, depending on your spiritual background and that. And so everyone was trying to figure out, how are we going to do these holidays?
Right.
And Zoom became the format
Mm-hmm.
that could cross over generations.
Okay, that's really good to know. I mean, I've, turned some people on to that, even in the older era,
Right.
older
And
era.
I don't have stock in Zoom. Trust me. I wish I would
Right.
have bought it. I didn't,
Yeah.
but, I do have a commitment to simplicity.
Yes.
And, here again, grandma and mom and the kids
Hmm.
could all get on that.
Yes. It's
I know
almost like
because my
FaceTime.
clients did. I did Seder. I did a Seder via Zoom, and it was
Wow.
fabulous. And they and uh, most of us were 50 and above,
Wow.
50
It's
to
really
90, 50 to
interesting that,
90.
yeah, FaceTime kind of did that. I want to get back to that last comment because I missed it. I talked over you, but FaceTime kind of did that on our iPhones, because
Right.
now all of a sudden my dad, as he was using it, it was just wonderful when he was alive to be able to talk to my
Sure.
dad on FaceTime. And even with one of my sisters who was ill for part of that time, we were able to FaceTime when she was in the hospital and my dad was ill. And so it was just wonderful still to have that sort of connection. And that's what the iPhone did, and Zoom is doing that for multi generations.
Right.
So
And you don't have to, I have a high respect for Apple. They've done an amazing job,
yes,
but we're not all Apple
no,
users.
we aren't. No,
So that this is where, we're having a universal platform, which Zoom came into being.
hmm,
Yardstream is a streaming platform that's different,
yes,
um, on it. And so it's really, defining what you're doing, what
right,
type of event you're doing,
right,
and then matchmaking the platform that serves you.
right, right.
Because
Well,
if
I
you're
think
if you're doing a conference for thousands,
mhm,
and they do that,
yes, oh, definitely, definitely,
that's all still, happening.
right,
Your tech will be slightly different.
right, right.
So if you think in regards to touch
Hmm.
and tech,
Hmm.
think those through first,
Right,
make your platform decision,
right,
and then springboard from there. That's
right.
pretty universal, whether it's social or nonprofit or corporate.
Cool. I love it that you can have, yeah, because Zoom now, what they did, it didn't matter what device you have or whatever, you can get on any device. And that's really important. I've had
Right.
trouble getting, because I'm such a Mac user, there were some that I've had trouble with. So this is so
Right.
universal. And, and we're all learning. I mean, I'm always learning because they're upgrading and doing all of that as well. But
Oh,
it's great.
I'm totally in it.
Yes.
I've signed up for every webinar that lives and breathes, but
Mhm.
and I'm doing an actual class
Mhm.
because I want to be a resource.
Right.
I want I've been a resource in the community
Mhm.
all these years for
Right.
live,
Mhm.
and that I really do want to make this turn because I don't see us turning back.
And that's where really I want to go now, is what do you think the immediate future is going to be, and then after that. And I love that you're doing some professional development. I'm doing the same thing. I've committed to a huge program that I'm doing actually for the rest of the year. But what do you see coming here in the immediate future and then beyond, or can you predict anything?
Well, my crystal ball says,
Well, that's what I want to know. I think everybody wants to know.
my crystal ball says, is that, yeah, we went from live
Hmm.
to stop
Hmm.
to virtual.
Hmm.
We're still in virtual with limited live,
Uh-huh.
and that's in the social market.
Right.
For the wedding piece, the micro weddings are
Right.
happening now.
Tell us what a micro wedding is.
Okay, so in the wedding world, there is an elopement,
Okay.
which is 2 to 4 people.
Okay.
Then there is a micro wedding,
Hmm.
which is 10 people.
Okay.
And then you can go to mini.
Okay.
Feel like I just went to Disneyland.
Okay.
Um, uh, which would be kind of like you could almost do like 10, 20, 30
Okay.
in there.
Okay.
We're hoping to get it rolled out up to 50.
Okay.
That's our goal right now.
Okay.
And then, for the couples that are thinking, I want 100, 200, 300. Some of it's cultural,
Okay.
because our Asian culture
Yes.
usually has very large. Indian culture,
Right.
Armenian culture, all of these, they're stunningly beautiful. They're just amazing, rich in tradition,
Right.
and big in people.
Right.
So, are we going to see that this year? I don't believe so.
Yeah. Well, it would be 2021. How soon there's no predict. We just can't tell, can we? No. It's so interesting. I have performed as a musician at so many weddings, hundreds. I mean, I stopped counting through the years. Lots and lots of different ones. I have a lot of stories, but your terminology here is actually fairly new to me, coming from the planning side of the micro wedding. So that was new to me. So, but I think some of these will help people in their actual planning going ahead, because even my neighbor is having, her daughter's had this wedding planned. And so they decided to get married in a little private ceremony. And then they're going to put off the big celebration till later. They just, people have to put those things off.
Right. The terminology is celebrate love now, party later.
Okay. That's great. Yeah.
Because, and it's interesting. I was on the call right before this, and we were talking. This was exactly what we were talking about.
Wow. Okay.
Was about the micro wedding, but also the safety, the safeness of everything, and the protocols that have to be in place.
Now, what are some of those? Do you think is going to be for sure?
Well, masks, absolutely.
Okay.
For vendors.
Okay.
And guests.
Okay.
Mask, glove, hand sanitizer, thermometers, all of these things that we're just going to change the party favors a bit.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. You could get everybody a thermometer.
Well, okay. So kind of think this through. Well, thermometer, there will probably be a attendant, a greeting attendant when you arrive. For the thermometer piece.
Okay. Okay.
There will also be a waiver.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Waiver. The same way that we would do for photography.
Yes.
It now goes for that. Just like for the Jewish community, there would always be yarmulkes available for people for the ceremony. Now we have the face masks.
Okay.
And they can be custom, they can be monogrammed, they can be color coded. The sky is the limit. It's a party favor.
Okay.
Then you have personalized hand sanitizers.
Okay. Okay. I really like. There's a lot of stuff that you could be so creative with all of that.
Absolutely. You can monogram everything. You can color code everything. You can put fun sayings on everything. You can be as kitschy as you want to be with it. So
I would think the imprint companies right now, I mean, they're really grow. If you are anything with these personalized, in fact, I was just talking to a company today, because I'm ordering some things for some of my events coming up, online events, of course, but being able to send a physical product, because I've thought about it for quite a while, because I do little timers in some of my virtual programs, and with my Learn Music Again right now, with my piano, getting back to the piano, a big deal is putting a little timer on it. That's focus time. That's time for you, just to, and you just put that little 10-minute timer on. So it really, really helps with almost anything. It helps me clean up my office when I put that 10 minutes on. But yeah, for these little things that'll help people move forward or just to be fun, I would just think those companies right now, they need to be listening to this to go, okay, I need to start marketing, having some of these things.
It's all marketing and branding.
Yes.
But even more than that,
Mm-hmm.
it's kindness and care.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's
And
true.
because people want to know that they're safe.
Yes. Yeah. There's so much panic. There's so much.
And if there's any doubt,
Yeah.
and that, and that was what the call was, we were really talking through the safety measures and the layers of it and how it's being presented and perception. And if everything comes back to kindness and care, we care about you. That's why we do this. We love you. This is why we do this. This is, you're important. You matter. This is the messaging. And it's not just messaging. It really comes from our heart.
Well, and I think I see that so much in you because I've known you for a bit now as an event planner, you are looking to connect people. You are looking to help businesses grow through this time and looking at those creative ideas. And I think your mission and even your business for years has been with that kindness and care as we look at helping people move forward, helping people get out of this feeling lost or or can they even, if someone's getting married, I mean, we had a large wedding, my husband and I, many years ago, actually, but we had 1,000 people at our wedding. We had a huge wedding. I was a major, one of the pianists in a very, very large mega church. And so everybody wanted to come, everybody. So when you think about putting some of those events as virtual, it is, it's a challenge, I think. And that's where I want to kind of end up today on what are some of the biggest challenges that you think you will be facing in the immediate, you're already facing it because you're already now starting to think about some of these events and you're on all of these Zoom calls and you're, trying to keep up with all of the information. So what is some of the challenges that you're going to face maybe in the next 6 months, the immediate challenges?
The immediate one I faced right from the gate was mindset.
Okay.
And it was how to communicate and educate clients who have done something a certain way for decades.
Okay.
And to help them, to guide them lovingly into this new arena.
Okay.
So that they feel confident to do what they have always done in just a slightly different format.
Wow. Yeah.
I said something to a mutual friend of ours, to Ray, and I said, let me introduce you to your greatness.
Oh.
And that has been, one of the things is helping them to find comfort.
Yes.
In the platform and what we're doing and the excitement of it.
Yes.
The opportunity, the potential, the creativity, all of this fun thing is that's the big one for me on it. I also feel the other thing is to stay conscious that this is real.
Yes. Okay.
I realize that it's difficult because we can't see it until we see the end result.
Right.
And I think that's challenging for people because in a regular situation, a hurricane, a tornado, fires, we know, we can see that.
We can see it, but all we know is the pictures we see and
all we can see is the end game of it.
Yeah, or in the end game, exactly, of what's happened.
And so, to help people stay conscious, and it goes back to, going back to the kindness of it, saying the reason I'm doing this is because I care about you.
Right.
About the I have a company that I partnered with for event cleaning, and now it's non-negotiable in my contract.
Wow.
This is what we have.
Yes.
And here's why.
Right.
It's because we care.
I've seen some of the airlines doing this as well. We recently actually took a flight to see one of our sons up in Sacramento, and the flight was maybe 30% full, but they were very proactive in that they were cleaning, and they made us feel very comfortable. And we took our masks off inside because you're going to have this recycled air anyway. So I'm not going to do that much good. So yeah, I mean, you can't live your whole life in fear, but
Right.
but they are definitely with the cleaning between and stepping them. And now I've seen more airlines starting to, because I have some flights coming up, they are communicating this. So you're helping people feel, get past that fear, because there's a lot of people that I feel they may wear a mask the rest of their life and they're going to be scared. So we want to be able to get beyond some of this when they have the medical, a vaccine, and they have the medication, and we know that we can get beyond this. And especially with the susceptible little segment of our population, those usually that have diabetes or pre-existing or older. So being especially sensitive. So, and in your industry, you are going to have a lot of those grandparents and great grandparents show up. So you really have to think through that, especially, I would think. And
that's why hybrid will be here forever.
Yes, good. That's a good phrase.
Right. No, that is why hybrid. So we'll go. We went from live to stop to virtual.
Yes.
To hybrid.
Yes.
Back to live.
Yes.
But even with live, there will still be hybrid.
Will be hybrid. That is hybrid. I should say that correctly. That's great.
Because basically what this did is this just pushed this into our consciousness and reality quicker. It was on its way. It was already there.
Yeah.
Zoom was already there.
Yes.
Zoom was already there. People didn't know about it because they didn't need to know about it.
Right.
It was already here. A lot of the conferences, the speaking conference, National Speakers Association.
Right.
Big coaches, that were all over the country that, would have their signature event. Right. But they had the team that was, that would meet there live.
Right.
And then they had which was a certain ticket price. Right. And then if you wanted to come virtually, it was a different ticket price.
Right.
On it. And so, that was already there. That will stay there.
It's magnified now with almost it's forced some people into being able to deal with that, which is, I think it's very good. It's very challenging. So there's that professional development as we keep going. So, well, right, Peggy,
but there's one more piece though that I think is really cool. Is the level of creativity that is available.
Yes. Yeah, it does take being very, very creative. So.
Yeah, it's the creativity piece of it. Mm-hmm. Because it's gonna give us the opportunity to look at our messaging, our branding, our communication, our level of communication, our onboarding protocol, our follow-up, our engagement, and our community. Because go back to the 3 C's: content, connection, and community.
That's great.
If you live in those 3 C's, you'll be successful.
Right.
Because you already are. Yes. I think that's the part is know how great you are.
Right.
And this is just going to increase that greatness.
Right. I love that. I think that's a really good statement to end on too, with that content, connection, community, and it just helps to keep us focused, giving to each other with kindness. And Kelley, I'm going to call you Kelley. The first 2 names, my goodness, Peggy. I mean, it's so funny. I do this pretty often, actually. Sometimes when I'm, moving from one thing to the next. But Peggy, how can people get to know a little bit more about you, contact you, if they would love to do that?
I am everywhere, I guess. My company is timelesscelebrations.com. Mm-hmm. That's my production company.
Mhm.
I, like everybody else, are in the process of pivoting, so to speak.
Mhm.
And but that is the best place to find me. I'm also on Facebook. Um, there, I'm also on LinkedIn.
Good.
If they want to go there, or I'm a good fashion phone person.
All right.
Call 626-222-1808. And yes, I will pick up the phone.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Or you can text me if you don't pick up the phone, but you still like to text. On it, I'm here in Pasadena. I'm geographically desirable. I will go anywhere to help.
That's
I
great.
am a resource
Mhm.
and a sounding board
That's
and
great.
cheerleader.
Well, I really appreciate that about you because I've seen you actively do that with others. So that is a wonderful, just a personal commitment that you have and quality. And I really appreciate that. So, well, thank you so much, Peggy, for being with us today. And I just really appreciate you spending your time. And we got to cover a lot, which yes, we definitely did. So, and for all our listeners, I want to make sure you tune in next week, because the subject is on how saying yes will help you move forward in life and business. And that's a big comedy improv too. It's yes but how when we are saying yes to some of the things that are in front of us, how that'll help us move forward. So I hope you tune in then. Deborah Johnson here with goalsforyourlife.com, womenatalftime.com. And if you like this, please share it with some of your friends. And I would love it if you write me a good review. That always really helps. So thank you again for being with me today. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining us on Women at Halftime. Visit goalsforyourlife.com or womenathalftime.com for many more resources, downloads, and programs, or to get in touch with me. I'd love it if you leave me a review and tell your friends. So until next time, this is Deborah Johnson signing off.